So good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Chiragshi and here to present on the topic of intraoperative wavefront aberrometry versus conventional IL power calculation in pediatric eye. I have no financial disclosures. We know intraoperative wavefront aberrometry estimates optic aberrations of the eye, and this helps to calculate the IL power. Aura is an IWA device. It calculates the IL power based on Talbot-Moyer interferometry, and this has been found effective in aphakic mode in measuring lower order aberrations, including spheres and cylinders. It has been found comparable to optical methods in adult eyes. It has also shown to improve refractive outcome in challenging situations, including post-classic, post-refractive eyes. IL power has been a challenge in pediatric eyes for the last 3 decades. Theoretically, intraoperative wavefront aberrometry can provide most accurate IL power, taking into account a variety of factors, but it requires certain conditions for adequate quality capture, including patient fixation, IOP more than 21, and smooth corneal curvature. So in pediatric eyes, this criteria, patient fixation, cannot be met. Last year, we had published a paper in which we compared intraoperative aberrometry in cataract surgery with topical versus peribulbar anesthesia. So we found that IA can be utilized well under block if a good quality of wavefront can be captured by aligning the eye manually. So in block also the patient cannot see the target light. So the surgeon manually aligns the light in that direction and then we capture the aura reading. So the same thing we tried doing in the pediatric eyes. My aim was to compare intraoperative wavefront aberrometry and conventional IL power calculation in pediatric eyes. It was a prospective observational study done at RP Center, New Delhi. It started in October 2018 and concluded in February 2020. Children undergoing cataract surgery less than 10 years of age were included, whose parents were willing to give consent. Any history of trauma, significant corneal or retinal comorbidity, or previous intraocular surgery were excluded. This was the methodology. Under the inclusion and exclusion criteria, I recruited 36 eyes of 20 children. IL power was calculated using modified SRK2 based on the biometry done in EUA. Afterwards, in aphakic mode, aura was captured. IL was implanted based on the conventional method because it was an observational study with age-appropriate undercorrection. And finally, we did an IL back power calculation based on previous formulas. I'll show a short clip of the video. The aura works a little different in children as compared to the adults. You can see here that because the child is under general anesthesia, it has to be centered manually by the surgeon. The surgeon is using a McPherson's forceps or a limb forceps to center it. This can cause distortion, and many a times we are going to get a poor quality image. So we repeat capture till we get an adequate quality number. Afterwards, once the IL power is captured, you can actually select what refractive error you are looking at based on the age of the child. For example, if you want +3 here, you can decide between 18.5 and 19 diopters. So this is something which in future can ease down the measurements and undercorrections in children. Coming to the results, 36 eyes of 20 patients were included. The median age was 6.1 years. Aura was captured in 77.8% of the total eyes. In less than 5 years, it was 41.6%, and in more than 5 years, it was 95%. So in younger children, the success rate was actually less than 50%. These are the main values for biometry and IL power calculation. Of IL power, M represents the manual IL power, and IL aura is the power we got from intraoperative wavefront aberrometry. The mean was 24.8 and 25.2 respectively. The mean difference was 0.4 and the p-value was 0.13, which was not statistically significant. In 35.7% of the eyes, the IL-M and IL-aura was within 0.5 diopters of agreement. In 85.8%, it was within 2 diopters, and in 100% cases, it was within 2.5 diopters. So this is the graph in which I have put the data for each eye of the 28 total cases. Coming to a brief discussion, pediatric IL power is tricky. We found that IL power difference between manual method and aura to be statistically insignificant. In future, since it was a pilot study, In future, we estimate that it can reduce EUA time significantly and make the calculations easy because no formula needs to be done to calculate the post-op aphakic refraction and pseudo-phakic refraction. A randomized study to compare the refractive outcomes with ORA and manual methods needs to be performed. But I would like to point out a certain number of difficulties. Since the patient is under general anesthesia, fixation cannot be checked. We manually align the eye for centration. In some of the cases, it may give a large number of error because in one case, the refractive difference between the two groups was 2.5 diopters. So that cannot be eliminated. Even a use of forceps is going to distort the cornea and keratometry can get affected by this. Once we do posterior capsular excess and anterior vitrectomy, we all know the IOP goes down. If we put more viscoelastic inside to attain the desirable intraocular pressure, the residual viscoelastic at the end of surgery may cause problems later on. So that remains to be seen. It is tricky because in eyes where we did ORA after PCC and anterior vitrectomy, the success rate was quite low. If we do not do PCC and before performing PCC, we try to capture it, then we have to overinflate the bag, otherwise the excess will extend. So yeah, with that, these are my references and I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
What is the cost of this equipment which you are using? Hello, can you hear?
It's around 1 CR.
1 crore. So that's
Yeah.
a great deterrent for common usage of this equipment. It has to be done in a very institutional,
Yes, it was an institutional study, but sir, I agree to what you are saying. The cost is totally a concern. But if in future we can get devices at lower rates, because when other devices also started, they were more expensive. So eventually devices are going to come, which are going to be cheaper and more easily available to everybody. But first we have to establish like it is useful, then only people will make those devices.
But you didn't find much difference between the aberrometry and the conventional methods. It's not significant.
Yeah, so in this, yes. So it was basically a study to establish non-inferiority. We were not trying to look whether it is superior or not, because in children, it is not ethically correct to start with a study in which we can use this device to put IL power actually. So this is only a non-inferiority study. We have found that it is non-inferior. In future, we are planning to do a study where we can do a randomized trial and we can know whether it is better or not.
Yeah.
How difficult it was to make the eye in the center, because in general anesthesia, it is known that the eye position is not in the center, and most of these devices will work when the fixation is proper.
Yes, ma'am, I agree. That is why in under 5 years, we know that in general anesthesia, the titration is very important from the anesthetist side. Even with the best of the anesthetists, we could capture in only 41% of the eyes in under 5 years. In older children, generally, the eye centration is maintained much better. In younger children, the palpebral aperture is small, the head centration is difficult. So all these factors were a deterrent, and finally we could attain it in only 41% of the eyes in young children. So yeah.
They should look at younger children, I think, more carefully. They are the real challenge.
Yes, sir. So that's what I was trying to discuss in difficulties. There's a sweet spot where we have to decide like how much IOP we can inflate with viscoelastic, how much time we can spend on this method. So that is something which we are trying to figure out. And this year we are doing a study on the comparative results of this. So these